Hi, everybody. Welcome back inside the TSN studios. Dave Randorf with you. We certainly hope you enjoyed live coverage of the President's Cup from San Francisco. We will now take you directly live to Regina for the CFL on TSN, the Argos and the Riders. Rod Black, Dwayne Ford. Enjoy.
Kerry Joseph back in Regina once again. Former most outstanding player. Grey Cup champion 2 years ago. For those joining us on the main network, TSN. Argos went 2 and out, and then the Roughriders second play from scrimmage after a great return by Jason Armstead.
Well, you see Zeke Moreno, the middle linebacker, is up in blitz posture here, so he's not dropping into his zone. That leaves a little bit of vacant space for Chris Getzlaf coming off across the middle. Now, the other thing that opens up here, watch Willie Pyle, the strong side linebacker, as Wes Cates goes to the flat. He gets Pyle's back turned. Chris Getzlaf comes in right behind him. This is just the way you draw it up to clear out room. Lynn J. Shell's trying to cover him from a chase position in the back. Just can't get there. Perfectly executed play.
Getzlaf's fourth touchdown. And the Argos got a huge hole here. 2 penalties on the kickoff return from Dominic Dorsey. There was also a roughing the passer on the earlier call. And Bart Andrus trying to get his team a win here. Their first cold weather game of 2009. Old man winter comes early here. The Argos backed up big time. Jamal Robertson busted left. Robertson 8 or 9 yards. Well, Kerry Joseph just added to the fire this week that has been the Toronto Argonauts. Usually reserve Kerry Joseph went off this week.
Well, he sure did. Kerry Joseph just showing his frustration, not just with what's gone on this season. You know, this was precipitated by the decision not to decide on a starting quarterback until later in the week. But really, it's frustration that's been built up over 2 years.
There's a first down for Toronto. We're expecting both teams to establish their run games tonight with Robertson and Wes Cates, but we didn't see that early on. Both teams going to the air, and obviously Saskatchewan finding the end zone. But were you surprised with Kerry Joseph? He has backtracked a little bit in the last couple of days, but having talked to him over the last couple of years and the soap opera that he's had to go through, it was quite unlike Kerry Joseph.
It was out of character, but that said, it's been a long time coming.
Jason Carter, running room down the sideline. Big play there, big first down. So why did Kerry Joseph speak out this week?
You know, I just had a lot of frustrations, and I just voiced my opinion about a situation that you know, that was taking place, and I didn't want it to get blown out of proportion, but at the same time, as a player, you know, when your competitive edge takes over, you know, sometimes you just say some things.
Said some things, gets the start here in a place he used to call home, with some protection over the top. Once again, going back to Jason Carter and very close to a first down.
Well, as you said, Rod, perhaps out of character for Kerry Joseph to speak out. He's a guy who obviously has had plenty of reason to grumble the last couple of seasons, but has chosen to bite his tongue, be a good teammate, be a professional, and so on. But really, to me, it just shows that Kerry Joseph is human. I mean, the man has shown more patience than Gandhi over the last season and a half as a Toronto Argonaut.
Second down. And one, looks like it will be a first down. Toronto Argonauts just 3-10 coming off a 4-14 season. So do the math. 7-24 since acquiring Kerry Joseph. Bart Andrus put up, Wooley's on. First and 10. To the 46. So a play action. Joseph brought down by John Chick.
there's the dynamic duo in action, those two bookends, Stevie Beggs and John Chick, the Rider defensive ends. Keeping an eye, first of all, on Stevie Beggs at the top of the defensive line. He gets into the backfield so quickly here. Kerry Joseph doesn't have time to react. He wants to dump that ball quickly out into the flat. Beggs is right there in his face, right in that throwing lane. As he tries to adjust, here comes the other half of the crew, John Chick, to pick up his 9th sack of the season.
Second and 11 now. Protection again. Joseph has to scamper. Nobody home. Tried to shovel. Ray Williams battling a knee injury the last little while, back in the lineup. Another knockdown. That's a second pass knockdown as well for the Roughriders here tonight.
And Rough Rider fans will be happy to see Ray Williams picking up right where he left off. This guy was on fire before he injured his knee, missed 6 games, came back last week in kind of a part-time role, back in the starting lineup this week. And right back on top of his game. Another big play for number 48.
Justin Medlock. The kick back to Armstead. 43-yard return last time. This time contained and knocked out of bounds near the 20. The Rough Riders lead 7-0, 7:45 to go in the first. The CFL on TSN is brought to you by Rona, proud sponsor of the CFL. Rona, doing it right since 1939. Back at Mosaic Stadium in Regina, Saskatchewan on a chilly, cold night. Minus 12 with the wind chill. Windy. And an icy field, but Wes Cates slides close to a first down. And on the sideline tonight is Ray Morrison. Ray?
Hi, Rod. One of the things for this cold weather that the Riders coaching staff think the Argos may do is blitz. And to counter that, there's some things that the Riders have planned. Maybe some slide or almost sprint protection from the offensive line. They may bring a receiver up to block, or they may try to put a receiver where the blitz is coming from to see if they can get a quick release away and move upfield that way.
All right, thank you, Ray. We'll watch for that. Four-man front right now for the Argos. First and 10. Once again, it's Cates. And Willie Pyle wraps him up and brings him down. Take a look at the Argos defense. Starting lineups tonight brought to you by Nissan, fan and proud sponsor of the CFL.
This defensive line has been one of the strengths. Kevin Huntley, a great find for them. Big man in the middle. Linebacking core has combined for 7 of the Argos' 10 interceptions this year. A little shuffling on the back end. Their 2 corners, Middlebrooks and Younger still out. Will Poole moves from safety to the corner.
And it's caught once again by Getzlaf, who scored earlier on the first drive, and another first down for Saskatchewan.
Well, Chris Getzlaf is one guy who seems to like this cold weather. Off to a flying start here for the Riders. Getzlaf likely a little excited today after watching his alma mater, University of Regina, defeat Simon Fraser here last night.
Little play action. Far sideline, and Weston Dressler gets his first catch. 58 catches now on the season. Weston Dressler getting close to 1,000 yards. A year that has become the year of the run in the Canadian Football League, but maybe more appropriately the year of defense in the Canadian Football League. Not many receivers have got to 1,000 yards. 4 running backs at 1,000 yards. And that has been a bit of a rarity. On second and short, Cates again. So used to wide open aerial attacks in the Canadian Football League. In your mind, what has precipitated this change?
Well, I think a lot of things go in waves and cycles in the Canadian Football League. And so you see teams countering what the guys on the other side of the ball are doing. And this is something that started a little bit last year, I believe, with the run game, as you see teams using smaller defensive back type guys at not just one, but often both of the outside linebacker positions. So you want to play a little bit more physical brand of football.
Dressler coming from the outside in. Dressler on his feet and finally brought down for another first down. In kind of an inside handoff on a reverse to Weston Dressler. And this is a look the Roughriders will use and have used with success this season.
Yeah, and execution is the key here. You draw it up, but watch Weston Dressler come from the backfield and time this up to get there basically immediately as the snap arrives in Darian Durant's hands. You have that quick exchange before the defense really even has time to react to his motion and recognize that he might be getting a handoff as opposed to motioning to run his route.
Impressive drive again. And off to Cates. Moving close to the Argos' 35-yard line. Just under 4 minutes to go in this first quarter. Darian Durant kind of has felt a little heat recently, and Ken Miller has said that, you know, he might use a quarterback rotation. Riders coming off a loss last week in BC. Durant has looked awfully good so far. Four-man rush over the top, and Dressler trying to lay out just past his outstretched fingertip tips, and so now it will be a kicking down for the Roughriders.
Nonetheless, a nice drive for the Roughriders, not just moving the ball from their own end, but also eating up some time on the clock, which is exactly what you want to do when you're working into the win.
So working into the wind would be about a 42-yard field goal. This gives you an idea of the wind and the conditions here tonight. What might be an automatic field goal try for the Roughriders is not. And Luka Konji, who doesn't handle the punting normally, will punt now. Looking for the corner. And out near the 10-yard line. That's where the Argos will scrimmage when we come back to Regina. Well, the Toronto Argonauts, as Kerry Joseph realizes he has to get out to the field, and the Argos with another possession close to their heaters. Cody Pickett not starting tonight, and they have gone, look at that, 82 straight possessions without a touchdown pass. That's 5 games without a touchdown pass. Trying to stay warm. Under 3 minutes to go, opening quarter. Jamal Robertson follows a couple of blocks, but only gets a couple yards.
You talk about those offensive woes for the Argonauts, particularly through the air. Seems like both quarterbacks had their stints as the starter follow a similar pattern. You look at Kerry Joseph in his first 2 games of the year, it was 6 touchdown passes to 1 interception. Since then, 1 touchdown pass, 11 picks. For Cody Pickett, started off 3 touchdowns, no interceptions in his first couple games. No touchdown passes since then to go with 3 interceptions.
2nd and 6. PK Sam. Eddie Davis with the tackle and a first down for Toronto.
PK Sam dropped one earlier, made sure on this catch. It's a little hook route working against Eddie Davis. Use his body a little bit to cushion that one, which you don't necessarily want to see guys doing, not necessarily your best fundamentals, but when you get the cold weather and a hard ball, as is the case, you'll often see guys go to that as a little bit of a security measure.
From their 28, little back pedal and out of the backfield. Jack Johnson. Omar Morgan, the tackle. Few riders in on that, and they read that perfectly. Actually, a loss of 1.
Omar Morgan, the short side corner. veteran in his 10th CFL season. Just sniffed this one out, anticipated what was coming, and was really making a break on the ball before Jamal Robertson could get in position to block him.
This Roughriders defense, particularly the DBs, a lot of continuity this season. Starters from game one. Here's the protection now. Joseph again. What a catch by Jason Carter. Lunging ahead. And depending on this spot here, it will be very close to moving the yardsticks.
Well, in a dismal season for the Toronto Argonauts, Jason Carter has been one of the bright spots. A nice find for this group. Carter here starts off in an out, but with zone coverage, doesn't want to run into a defender, so he just sits it down. Kerry Joseph lays it into him. Carter makes the play for what, if it isn't a first down, I would anticipate the Argos are going to go for it and try and keep this drive alive.
It is a little bit short. 24 seconds to go in the opening quarter. Kerry Joseph right now 5 for 8, 44 yards in the air. This Argo quarterbacking tandem in their last game, the loss against Montreal, only threw for 110 yards. That was Joseph and Pickett together. So here it comes. The first third down gamble of this game. And the gamble is the word on an icy field in these conditions. Kerry Joseph keeps. Brings it close to the 45-yard line.
A nice job there by Kerry Joseph of reading the defensive front and sifting around for a soft spot. You're going to see him, you see what they call a bubble over here behind his tackle, Rob Murphy. And that's exactly where Joseph goes. Murphy blocks down to the inside. Kerry Joseph slides it over and turns up. Good pre-snap recognition from the Argo quarterback.
And the Wildcat, Jason Carter, taking off the Wildcat offense on the final play of this opening quarter that began with the Roughriders scoring on their opening drive. That's the score, 7-0 Saskatchewan. Saturday night in Regina will continue. Might be cold out tonight, but both offenses got it warmed up with some impressive drives. Our numbers after one quarter, brought to you by Tim Hortons, always fresh, always.
Yeah, particularly impressive run in that first quarter is what the Saskatchewan Roughriders did, working against the wind. They were able to put together on their first drive, aided by a Jason Armstead return, nice short field. They capitalized with a touchdown. Their next drive, move it, an 8-play drive, where they end up pinning the Argos deep in their own end, but eat up a lot of time on that clock, taking away from the Argos' opportunity to work with that breeze.
How big of a night, how big of a game is this for Kerry Joseph?
Well, I would contend that this is the biggest one of 2009 for Kerry Joseph. He gets an opportunity to get back in the starting lineup and maybe put a hold on that spot at a time when his team desperately needs a win.
Knocked down, knocked around off a helmet, and that's the third pass knockdown tonight. And Stevie Baggs also was knocked down. Brian Ramsey and Rob Murphy in there with John Chick. Finally, a peace treaty.
Well, it becomes such a challenge against this Saskatchewan defensive line and those ends in particular who get upfield so well to make sure that they're not getting into that pocket, getting that upfield push where you're seeing them affect the passes of Kerry Joseph. There you see Stevie Baggs into it at the line of scrimmage.
So Medlock has to kick it away. And almost had that blocked by Stevie Baggs. Armstead reversing field a couple times. Steps out of bounds at the 35-yard line, a return of 11. The CFL on TSN is brought to you in part by Molson Canadian. This is our beer. Darian Durant, 9 years younger than Kerry Joseph, who was his mentor here when Joseph was here. 3 of 3 so far here tonight. To the air again. But makes the scramble. Finally goes down in front of Zeke Moreno and Kevin Iben. Darian Durant and Kerry Joseph have been burning up the phone lines or doing a little texting lately, trying to encourage each other, even though they are now on opposite sidelines.
And it seems as if the roles have been reversed a little bit in that mentor-pupil relationship. As Darian Durant just telling Kerry Joseph to keep his head up through some of these tough times.
Durant trying to get a grasp of the football. And an interference call coming here. Jerron Walker and Devontae Edwards working on him.
Devontae Edwards getting a start at the corner again this week. That short side spot usually occupied by Willie Middlebrooks.
Pass interference, Toronto number 24. 10-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
And here you see Edwards. A little bit of early contact perhaps on Jerron Walker.
Devontae Edwards and Will Poole again in for the injured corners, Jordan Younger and Willie Middlebrooks. Play action, Durant trying to find somebody, and he does. To Stu Ford. And that looks like it's a first down. Adriano Belli puts Stu Ford on his belly, but not until Ford picked up a first down.
Well, you're going to see Stu Ford sneak out of the backfield here. He lines up right to the right of Darian Durant in the backfield. Right off the handoff, off that play action, the idea is for him to go into that shovel pass mode and continue out into the flat. Nice job by Ford, because this is one where the ball can be tossed to him as a shovel immediately, but if it doesn't come to you, you've got to stay alive on the route. And that's exactly what he did with the ball coming late.
Ford again in the backfield, and again, this time the Argos clawed Harriet in on the tackle. And they read that for a loss. Regina native Stu Ford.
Another member of a very deep Canadian contingent here. The depth that this team has had and has been forced to use over the course of the last couple of seasons been very impressive.
Very impressive in their drafting as well. 7 first-rounders from the Canadian college draft in the Rough Rider lineup. Durant now on 2nd and 12. Avoids one and now escapes and goes for the first down on a hook slide to the 40-yard line of the Argos.
A lot of people don't necessarily label Darian Durant as a scrambler. But again, in these conditions, this is going to be an important part of the game. A lot of the throws that you might usually be able to make might become a little bit more difficult because of the wind, because of the cold, and so on. Darian Durant recognizes that, pulls the ball down a little bit more quickly when he sees the opportunity. You see the benefit there with another Rider first down.
Durant has carried 3 times for 21 yards. Pulls it back in there. Downfield, Andy Fantuz to the 7-yard line. And Andy Fantuz has really been a spark lately for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
It looked like a little mix-up in coverage there that ended up springing Andy Fantuz on this play. Linjay Shell looks like he's heading out to the flat in a zone coverage. Should be covering Fantuz' man. The Rider receiver got very open very quickly on that play. Darian Durant recognized it and got the ball there in a hurry.
Immediately to the red zone. Go the Rough Riders. Already leading 7-0. There's the option. Ford comes back the other way. Stu Ford scores. Touchdown.
Stu Ford makes a nice cut back here, but he gets some help from his center, Jeremy O'Day, who's going to peel back and pick up the Argo defenders pursuing. Here you see it. Ford continues around that block, a nice effort, smelling that goal line and making sure he gets there.
Vote for who?
What a drive, 7 plays, 78 yards, 7 more points for the Roughriders.
K-Town, what's
Stu
up?
Ford scores.
Love it. Do it up.
Stu Ford's second touchdown of 09.
Hey, that's 2 junior football players on the board already.
And there they go.
Diamond in the rough.
Chris Getzlaff
That's right.
and Stu Ford
We got a game.
played with the Regina
That's over
Thunder.
now. On to the next.
Little lightning on that little run there by number 22. Little cutback, 14-0 Roughriders. Now with the wind, Luca Conji. Dominic Dorsey is not back and is on the sideline right now. Was limping, and Andre Dury is wrapped up and brought down. With an update on Dominic Dorsey, let's go down to Ray Morrison.
Yeah, Rod, they looked at Dominic Dorsey's right foot, his ankle area, for about 5 minutes here. They did reinforce it. They retaped it. He didn't put a shoe back on, and he's trying to walk this off on the Argos sidelines right now. But that'll be a big hole for the Argos if he doesn't return to the special teams game for Toronto.
Well, looking at Dominic Dorsey right now, you and I aren't doctors by any stretch, but he does not look like he's ready to come back in at any time soon.
No, he certainly doesn't. You don't really see him loosening up much over there at all. You know, everything hurts a little bit more, Rod, when it gets cold.
Just another blow to the Argos. Jason Carter. 6 yards for Carter. He's been the main go-to guy so far for the Argonauts tonight.
Yeah, you certainly see Jason Carter now in his 5th game as a Toronto Argonaut as he becomes a little bit more comfortable with their system and with the CFL game. They start to feature his skills a little bit more. He now has 4 catches, 43 yards on the day.
Argos need to put some drives together here. Get a few first downs. There's one there. Chad Lucas will get the spot, and they will move the chains.
Chad Lucas, another one of those mid-season finds for the Argos, who's been something of a bright spot. He's lined up as the outside receiver here for the Argos. Guy who's been around football, knows how to set up his defenders running routes and recognizes situations there, making sure he gets first down depth with that hook route before coming back to the quarterback.
Right there. Ray Williams inserted into that lineup. The Roughriders will shuffle their linebackers today. Mike McCullough will stay in the middle. Tad Cornegay. Sean Lucas has an ankle problem, so we're seeing a lot of Ray Williams. There's McCullough.
You think about that Rough Rider linebacking core a year ago with Anton McKenzie, Maurice Lloyd, and Sean Lucas. Lucas, of course, the only one who is still a Rough Rider. But to think that this team has 3 completely different guys in the lineup today, continuing to defend at a very high level.
Another second down conversion attempt here for the Argonauts. Joseph out of the pocket, has to take off with it. And head first, and he is leveled by Keith Sholigan. But he's back up. What a lick he just took from number 74. Wow, what a hit. Listen in. That's why you hook slide. However, if he does hook slide there, they don't get close to the first down.
Well, you certainly know what Kerry Joseph was thinking, and he's a competitor. KJ's never been a guy who's been a real proponent of that hook slide anyway. But you see a starting quarterback take a shot like that, and you might want to have him rethink that strategy.
First down, Toronto. Joseph, of course, For the historians out there, watch the game. They know about Kerry Joseph. Former free safety in the NFL, as a matter of fact, came to the CFL with the Ottawa Renegades. Was the #1 pick in the expansion draft when the Renegades folded. Came to Saskatchewan with Eric Tillman, the GM at the time, and he had a rough going at the beginning in Saskatchewan, and then in 07 turned it around and led his team to the Grey Cup. The last 2 years, though, the last year into this year, have been a write-off for Joseph in Toronto. Jeff Johnson with a first down and a fumble, but it looks like he got it back.
You want to talk about role reversal here. It's the tailback, Jamal Robertson, number 25, doing the lead blocking. Watch him on number 48 to the left of your screen, Ray Williams. He gets the kick-out block right here on Williams. Jeff Johnson turns it up inside. Pick up another Argonaut first down. Jamal Robertson showing his versatility, doing it all. And Jeff Johnson, a guy usually in that blocking role, showing his skills as a ball carrier.
Did not get much playing time here in Saskatchewan. Got to know Kerry Joseph during his time here. Jamal Robertson a chance to get to 1,000 yards rushing on the season, which he will. And first Argo to get to 1,000. He's at 8:59 since Michael Jenkins did it a few years ago. 2nd and 5 from the Saskatchewan 40. Joseph over the middle. Chad Lucas down to the 15-yard line. Kerry Joseph has also looked sharp. 5.5 minutes to go before halftime.
Well, he sure has, and right in sync with his receivers. He throws a bullet here to Chad Lucas coming across the middle. Lucas turns it up with a few extra yak yards after the catch.
Again, 5 straight games. Over a month, the Argos have not scored on a passing touchdown. Jeff Johnson, he'll take it to the end zone. The former star at York, Jeff Johnson. When everybody was thinking Jamal Robertson or pass, does it again. Jeff Johnson, we saw him doing wind sprints before this game. Used to this weather, he scores the touchdown.
Yeah, Jeff Johnson, Mr. Fitness here. Big lane, perhaps a little bit of a hold on the outside. That goes undetected. You see the speed of Jeff Johnson. This guy is one of the most athletic players in the Canadian Football League. Guy who in his first start in the CFL in 2001 ran for over 100.
All Canadian scoring tonight. 14-7 Saskatchewan. Closed captioning of the CFL on TSN is brought to you by Sport Check. Sport Check, the power of sport. Jeff Johnson's first major, 2009. Fullback finds the end zone for the Argos. We now trail 14-7. Against the wind now, Justin Medlock. It's his left foot into one, and Jason Armstead follows some walks. Here he comes. And there he goes to the Toronto 45. Another big return from Jason Armstead.
See, the men of the moment for their respective teams. Jason Armstead with a big return for the Riders, and Jeff Johnson, who just scored that touchdown for the Argos. Watch this ball nearly slip out of there. That's not Jeff Johnson being lax with the ball. That's the ball being very hard and very slippery. That's a case of the conditions here tonight. And then you see Armstead given a little bit of a lane. Great blocking job by that special teams unit. But I'll tell you, with Jamie Borum out of the game and the loss in terms of field position in the punting game, Armstead stepping up in the returns could be huge.
Andy Fantuz can't hang on. Darian Durant scrambling around. 47-yard return by Armstead. That's his longest since coming back to the Saskatchewan Roughriders, as Durant took a hit here from Ronald Flemings. You've played in conditions like this. It's cold. You've played in worse than this, and many of these players have played in worse than this. But because it's maybe the first time of the year.
It's the first time, and it's early.
Yeah.
Relatively early for what you'd expect.
Penalty marker looked like the Riders may have been offside and almost picked off by Kevin Iben. Did the Rider receivers jump the line here, or did the Argos jump?
Well, this will be where the finger pointing begins. I know certainly Claude Harriott jumped at the end of the Argos D-line.
Offside, Toronto number 92. 5-yard penalty, repeat, second down.
It is Claude Harriott.
See Harriott's up here at the top right side of that D-line. And as the receivers start motioning, as they get close to the line, he gets a little antsy and jumps.
Second down and 5. Durant the shotgun again. Here's the rush over the top. West Cates is sprung. Cates still on his feet. Down to the red zone. West Cates, biggest play so far in this game.
Well, and you see back-to-back plays, first a penalty, and then a couple of missed tackles, giving the Riders life on this drive. Will Poole comes flying in, but doesn't hit Cates squarely. Rider running back slides off and turns it upfield for a nice game.
From the Argo 21, first and 10. Durant, sideline toss, and dropped this time again by Andy Fantuz. Will Poole working on him on the corner.
Yeah, I think this was more a matter of Andy Fantuz thinking about how he was going to avoid Will Poole after he caught the ball, rather than the contact from Poole dislodging this one. You saw Fantuz's head turn slightly, watching in his peripheral vision as the DB closed on him.
Fantuz missed 5 games this season with a torn left hamstring, has really turned it on the last 4 games. Sideline Walker. Jerron Walker will take it in and scores. Touchdown Roughriders.
Well, Jerron Walker had a fantastic catch on a 2-point convert last week. This time he gets the touchdown for himself. A nice hitch screen. But watch the block here by his partner over on the short side in this receiving tandem. Andy Fantuz seals Devontae Edwards to the outside, and that creates the run lane. Walker goes in untouched.
Jerron Walker with the touchdown. Roughriders open up with this point after coming. A 2-touchdown lead. Last time these two teams met, the Riders outscored the Argos 30-4 in the second quarter. 21-7 the score. Jerron Walker's second touchdown.
Connection. We got Stevenson right here. We got career high. We're in the building, baby.
Second
it's
major
cold, but hey, we
of
got
the season.
Hands warm though. They warm though. Get some more points though.
Following a good block by Andy Fantuz, and 21-7 now Saskatchewan. Ponji to kick. No Dominic Dorsey again for the Argos. Once again Andre Dury. Dury gets a block. Some good yardage. Brings it out near the 45-yard line for Toronto, and once again Kerry Joseph and the Argos back to work. 2:39 to go before halftime.
There you see Jeremy O'Day, the Riders' usual center, but not their usual long snapper. He's filling in for Jocelyn Fournette, who's suffering from some flu-like symptoms. You saw that snap a little high off target. A great job by the holder, Rob Begg, to get that one down.
It could be a dicey night for the long snappers. Fournette doing the long snapping for Saskatchewan. Chad Rempel is out for the Argonauts, injured earlier. Jamal Robertson follows a couple blocks up the gut. Two and a half minutes to go before halftime.
Well, we'll look for the Argos to lean a little bit on Jamal Robertson. This is a guy who has had 3 100-plus yard rushing games this year, which I believe it's no coincidence whatsoever that they were also the Argos' lone 3 victories of 2009.
2nd and 5 again. It's picked off by Lance Frazier. Down goes Frazier to the 5. And almost into the hot tub. Kerry Joseph intercepted a 51-yard return.
You see Frazier in coverage, steps in front of the intended receiver, PK Sam, with lots of running room in front of him. Just a great effort from Kerry Joseph is all that prevents him from getting to the end zone on this one. The ball was almost knocked down by the strong side linebacker, Tad Cornegay.
So Kerry Joseph throws into traffic. Roughriders can pile on some more points. Case on the pitch. And is hammered to the turf by Will Poole. So Lance Frazier's 3rd interception. He's already had 1 return for a touchdown this season. Almost had another right there. Under 2 minutes to go now before halftime.
I'll tell you, we saw Will Poole miss a tackle earlier when Wes Cates made a catch across the middle. But when 20 met 20 this time, Will Poole put on a little bit of a clinic on how you tackle a running back in the open field.
2nd and goal. Durant. Escapes 1, 2. Touchdown! Weston Dressler. And the Riders are rolling.
Well, we saw a glimpse of this Darian Durant magic act last week. The escape artist making plays here. It was Kevin Huntley, the defensive tackle, who had Durant wrapped up in the backfield. But the Rider quarterback slips that tackle. A little toss over the top. Adds to this Rough Rider lead.
Puts the toque on the sideline. 3 straight possessions, 3 straight touchdowns. That one on the turnover, thanks to Lance Frazier. And Weston Dressler has touchdown number 5.
You see a contrast between these 2 teams. You want to capitalize when you get an opportunity. The Argos didn't when they had a chance to make a big play with the sack. The Riders, on the other hand, when Lance Frazier gave them that ball in close, made the Argos pay.
Another 2nd quarter nightmare for the Toronto Argonauts. These teams met week 2. Roughriders outscored them in a big way. And don't forget, you can shop for top quality TSN gear, including the new book, TSN 25 Years. A look back at the world of sports for the last 25 years. Visit tsnshop.ca today and start shopping. Kerry Joseph serves up interception number 13. The Argos still cannot pass for a touchdown. Have scored once here tonight. Even though Joseph got the start here, dare I say, with the score the way it is, might we see Cody Pickett in the 2nd half?
Well, you really have to wonder, and this is going to be a challenge to the philosophy of their head coach, Bart Andrus. We talked to him earlier in the season, and he talked about how important it is for your starting quarterback to know he's your guy, to really go with one guy and ride him through some ups and downs.
Penalty marker down. Jason Carter also pushed back. Might be offside on the kick. Again, Luca Conji handling the kicks tonight because of Jamie Borum, so might be a little bit of a difference in timing for the special team.
Offside, Saskatchewan number 50. Will re-kick 5 yards back.
And Saskatchewan, you know, at 7-6 right now, a logjam in the CFL West, every game reeking of importance. And a costly loss right now. They have Luca Conji, but Jamie Borum has handled their kicks and their punting, has done an admirable job, and he might not be available for some time to come with that neck injury.
Yeah, there's been some speculation that Jamie Borum's season may be done as a result of that injury. So whether Luca Conji will be pressed into double duty for the rest of the year, or whether the Roughriders start looking elsewhere for a little bit of help in that department, remains to be seen. That's a story that we'll watch in the coming weeks.
Borum suffering a neck injury, but maybe the years of pounding on special teams, and a guy who used to play safety in college football out of Manitoba. Plays hard, Jamie Borum. And they lose about 5-6 yards in the punting average from Borum to Conji. Only averages about 38, and again, they're offside. So maybe another free one here for the Argos. Jason Carter trying to burst outside. Brings it to the 49-yard line. And again, clearly with Conji kicking, there seems to be a timing issue.
Yeah, as you alluded to earlier, Rod, different kickers approach the ball differently in terms of their angles and their pace.
Saskatchewan number 95. Will re-kick 5 yards back.
Now, some teams might be tempted to take that at the 44-yard line. But again, with Conji not kicking and with the way the wind's blowing, the field the way it is, why not keep pushing them back?
Well, absolutely. And, you know, we mentioned those different approaches. We'll take a look at Luca Conji here as he approaches the ball. Going to see a number of short little stutter steps that are maybe causing some of his cover men to get ahead of him a little bit.
Again, he does have the wind with him. By the way, after the coin flip, which Saskatchewan won, they deferred to the second half, so they'll have the advantage of that wind in the second half. In fact, they've had the advantage for most of this game, certainly on the scoreboard right now. 28-7. They'll do it again. This time, a squibbler. Grounder to Carter again. Follows Andre Derry. Jason Carter. And it all worked out for the Argos because they get good field position, their best start of the game, to the Saskatchewan 49-yard line.
Well, by the time you get the same 11 guys plus the kicker running down to cover a kick for the third time, 3 pretty good wind sprints. They start to slow down a little bit by that third one.
Well, you see Kerry Joseph and a lot of the Argos put their hands into their little heat hand warmer. A lot of players have that. Well, the Toronto Argos have kind of a secret weapon hand warmer.
Yeah, and there you see equipment manager Danny Webb warms up the element here. That goes into one pocket. They put that inside, not in the actual part where the player's hand is, but this goes into the lining of the hand pouch and warms the entire pouch. So the player's hands never actually come in contact with that warm element, but they feel the benefit from it, the radiant heat, if you will.
Well, maybe Matt Dunnigan can talk about that radiant heat coming up at halftime. Rona at the half, because Danny Webb was relaying a story to us about that hand warmer that maybe Matty can expound on at halftime. Might have burned himself. Forgot about the heater inside. So Joseph keeps his hands warm, even with the gloves on. 1:10 to go, and the Argos trying to respond here to what has been a tidal wave from the Saskatchewan Roughriders in this second quarter.
Well, you look look at what's gone wrong for the Toronto Argonauts here tonight, and they really have just themselves to blame. Drop passes, offsides, penalties, keeping drives alive, and of course, you can't win when you turn over the ball. That interception, which set up the last Roughrider touchdown.
So ball spotted at the 51. Lots of time for Joseph. Throws it out of bounds. First time really tonight that Kerry Joseph has had ample protection and a lot of time, but no one was open. Great job by the Saskatchewan secondary.
As you said, good protection, Rod. Kerry Joseph looks to step up and throw that football, but never really settled in before he threw that one. Really more of a throwaway than a high percentage type pass.
Mitts couldn't hang on, otherwise that was the second interception, and the Argos' Justin Medlock will come out and the Saskatchewan Roughriders will get it back again.
Well, you look back a couple of plays and here we see Tad Cornegay, strong side linebacker. He's going to drop into coverage here, but Kerry Joseph tries to zip this one through, basically try to zoom it past a couple of defenders. Well, that's where he got into trouble on the interception. This is what we talk about sometimes with quarterbacks who have such strong arms. It's kind of the curse of the cannon, because you start believing you can get a throw through anywhere and leads you into trouble.
Medlock against the breeze. Armstead gathers it in. There's nowhere to go. There was no penalty marker. There is a penalty marker for no yards, and it was at the 20. So that will advance the football, and 48 seconds to go. So boys in the studio, cozy, warm. John Climbing, Matt Dunnigan, and Dave Randorf with Schultze. We'll be by to talk about this on Thanksgiving weekend, wherever you're watching. If you're enjoying it, don't forget our Thanksgiving Day doubleheader coming up Monday on TSN from Hamilton and in Montreal. Ken Miller, the head coach of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. His team's been running all over the Argos. A fumble, and we'll have to see who has it. Jonathan Brown had it. Did the Argos get it, or did Saskatchewan hang on? That ball just popped right out of the hands of Wes Cates. It is Argo football.
Well, an Argo team that had been shooting themselves in the foot through most of this first half. Perhaps catching a late break here. See Wes Cates head into traffic. Willie Pyle with the strip. See him punch that ball out of there. Jonathan Brown, the first to have a shot at it, before a teammate ends up lying on in the bottom of that pile.
40 seconds now. At the very least, the Argos have to get it to field position. Pump fake. Joseph going vertical and knocked away by the veteran Eddie Davis. No chance for Chad Lucas.
Well, there was a brief window here where Chad Lucas was open, but Kerry Joseph is going to take a lick here from John Chick as he throws the football. Lucas is the man at the top of your screen, the outside receiver to the right side of the offensive formation. A little hitch and go, but the timing just off, and Eddie Davis, the veteran, gets over there to break it up. You see John Chick bury Kerry Joseph on the play.
2nd and 10 from the 44. Joseph now has some running room if he wants it, but he'll throw it, and it is picked off. Donovan Alexander. There is a penalty marker right at the point where Alexander picked off the football, and it might be interference. Brad Smith is limping back to the sideline, and it looks like this might go against Saskatchewan.
Pass Pass interference, Saskatchewan number 14. First down at the point of the foul.
So the free safety, James Patrick, who is also over there to help, is the man who gets flagged. And we thought the Argos caught a break when they recovered that fumble. Well, they really caught a break here with a penalty being called on a pass that never, ever should have been thrown.
86 straight possessions without throwing a touchdown pass for the Argos. I don't think they care how they do it here. They need a touchdown before halftime. Benefit of an interference call. 19 seconds. Time again. Deep in the end zone to the corner for Carter. And another penalty marker. Interference will move the football. This time a bump by Eddie Davis. And it'll move it all the way to the 1.
Pass interference, Saskatchewan number 29. The ball is in goal and go to the 1 yard line.
And here you'll see Jason Carter is the inside receiver. He's going to go to the corner on this route. You see Eddie Davis with the collision. Little grab in the back right arm of Jason Carter as he tries to separate and get to the football.
First and goal, but the Argos have to be careful here. Just 12 seconds. This will make it a different game before halftime. Twin backs. Hand off to Jamal Robertson. Stuffed. Marcus Adams says no way. 8 seconds to go before halftime. And it moves the ball back to the 5 yard. No, it's still at the 1 yard line. But it will be second and goal now and a timeout Toronto.
Well, the Roughriders came up with a big goal line stand last week against the BC Lions. Look and see if this group has it in them to do it in back-to-back games. Argonauts need a touchdown here.
Second down at the 1.5 yard line. 3 backs. Joseph behind center. Again, now Joseph bootlegs it. Should run it. He does. Touchdown. And Kerry Joseph just took a wicked jolt. And in obvious pain.
Well, sometimes you pay the price to make a play. Kerry Joseph, well aware of the situation. It was the Argos' last shot. They go play action, a bootleg here. Kerry Joseph has that run pass option. Sees a little lane and drops his shoulder. A collision near the goal line with linebacker Jarrell Freeman. Leaves Joseph a little bit too sore to celebrate this touchdown.
Kerry Joseph. Is it a shoulder injury of some sort? We'll find out. Point after, 1 second left. Well, Joseph took a hit earlier again in this game. And that time got the touchdown, but he's feeling it right now. The Argos, however, have brought themselves back in this football game thanks to a turnover. Fumble by Wes Cates. Joseph takes it to the end zone, 28-14. We'll have the kickoff, and that will be it. The teams will retreat to their locker rooms.
Well, what had been the theme for the Toronto Argonauts through about the first 28 minutes of this half in terms of making mistakes and giving the Roughriders opportunities turned into the theme for the Riders as the half wound down. As you mentioned, not just a fumble from Cates, but a couple of penalties that marched the ball down the field for the Toronto Argonauts and put them in position to score that touchdown.
Looks like they're working on his shoulder, or that's his shoulder. Again, we'll get an update on some of the hits that he's absorbed tonight. That one, the most punishing from Keith Sholigan. John Chick lays a lick. And then this one.
Yeah, finally on the touchdown. Kerry Joseph heads in across the goal line, takes a shot from Jarrell Freeman. Up high, tough to tell if it was shoulder, neck, or head that took the worst of that.
There is probably a good chance that we could see Cody Pickett in the second half. Doesn't look good for Joseph right now. That's it. First half complete. 28-14. Saskatchewan Roughriders will get an update on Kerry Joseph. Rona at the half coming your way next.
Live at the Half is brought to you by Rona, proud sponsor of the CFL. Rona, doing it right since 1939.
And welcome inside our CFL on TSN studios, where it is warm. A lot warmer in here than it is there in Regina. Dave and Jock and Matt and Chris, busy second quarter. 5 touchdowns put up on the board, and the most recent being from Kerry Joseph, a guy who had 13 rushing touchdowns for the Riders in 07, the year they won the Grey Cup. But that one kind of gives the Argos a glimmer of hope, although his condition is doubtful right now. We'll have to wait and see. Matty, Kent Austin.
Yep.
Old head coach of the Riders.
Right.
Ole Miss, he's at Ole Miss now, and Ole Miss got crushed today at home by Alabama.
Yeah, they had Oxford. Alabama took it to them. They could have used a little bit of what Jason Armstead, an Ole Miss alumni, was doing tonight for the Roughriders in returns. It was huge. In fact, Jason Armstead, check this out. He's got a couple tattoos, one on the back of his left calf, one on the back of his right calf. One on his left calf says speed, the other one on his right calf says kills. And I'm telling you, his speed was killing the Toronto Argonauts. And here he sets up a great field position for the offense, and what do? They capitalize on a 43-yard punt return. Chris Getzlaff makes a nice play into the end zone. And then the second quarter, with the wind in his back, speed kills Mr. Jason Armstead, takes a kickoff return after Toronto answers with the score and takes it back and gives his offense, once again, great field position. And what do? They capitalize on it. Darian Durant, a little hit screen out to Jerron Walker. He takes it in the end zone. Speed kills, and so does execution. And so far in this first half, the Saskatchewan Roughriders offense has been doing just that, Schultz, executing.
You know, earlier in the year, guys, we talked a lot about Gary Echeverry and his style of defense. Now I want to talk about their offense and their offensive coordinator, Paul LaPolice. I think Coach LaPolice is doing a great job of using the physical plays and the finesse plays, keeping his offensive line in the game. Now, this handoff to Wes Case, that's not really a dramatic play, but it keeps the physical element of the Riders' offensive line in the football game, pushing, shoving, staying aggressive. Then you got these little finesse plays, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't work. Stu Ford right there, I'm telling you, can be a starter in the Canadian Football League as a running back. Can he beat out Wes Cates? No, Wes Cates has too much power for him. But Stu Ford's making a name for himself. That was a great reactive play.
So it falls to me to talk about Toronto. Yeah, you guys get to talk about Saskatchewan. I have to talk about Toronto.
Choose, Jack, and he chose to go to
No, you just told me that's what I had to do. I'm just kidding. No, you know what? I constantly search for reasons to explain why this team is 3-10. I constantly look for things to be positive about this football team, and let me show you something that I think deals with both, and that's their running game. You know, no one runs the ball less than Toronto, and I'm not sure why when you see them running plays like this. And you know, one of the toughest things to do as an offense is to run against 7 men in the box. And here Saskatchewan's got 7 guys in the box, and watch what they do. Very creative play with Robertson here. He's going to come out of the backfield to lead the block, and Johnson is going to take the ball behind Joseph. This is a very atypical run set, and it works. And look at the point of attack blocking here. This is outstanding work by these guys right here, sealing at the point of attack and getting Johnson 15 yards on the play. It works so well, in fact, they'll go right back to it. Now, the sign of an offensive line that actually knows what they're doing is they can run the same play against a defense that's actually different. There's, again, 7 guys in the box, but this time they're all lined up on the line of scrimmage. Does that bother them? No. They all execute their assignments, and once again, point of attack is excellent. Look at the blocking right here, and now you've got Robertson who's able to lead up the field and lead Johnson into the end zone. This team averages fewer yards per game on the ground than anybody. And Robertson is arguably one of the best running backs in the league. And yet, they don't use him very often, and that may be one of the reasons why they struggle.
Jeff Johnson, I'm sure, felt good to get back in the end zone. He has not scored a touchdown since July of 2008. Battled a lot of injuries. Darian Durant, 3 touchdown passes on 8 completions. Third time he's done that this season.
What a hit. Ford comes back to the end. Touchdown.
Welcome back. Here are your halftime numbers. As always, brought to you by Tim Hortons, always fresh.
Hey, Dave, I love these passing numbers. I love these rushing numbers, but I want to congratulate Gene Mikowski. 247 consecutive starts for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Gene, I don't know how you do it.
Catching up to the Little General. Here is Ken Miller spoke with Ray Morrison.
Coach, can you talk about your creativity on offense and the opportunity to put a number of people in the end zone in that first half?
Well, I'll tell you what, Darian is doing a great job, and Paul's calling a great game. So I'm really pleased with how our offense has been creative and getting some scores.
What's the key in the second half? They may have some late momentum from that touchdown, so what do you tell your men now?
Well, the thing we have to do is we have to play with great emotion, great intensity, great effort. Have to stay away from those silly penalties like we had in that last drive there. Ball security.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
The Saskatchewan Roughriders have beaten the Argos in a 3 straight head-to-head. They haven't lost to them since November of 2007.
Old man winter comes early. Fall isn't supposed to mean snowfall, is it? Here in Regina, but the Saskatchewan Roughriders lead the Toronto Argonauts 28-14 heading to the third quarter. Let's go now to Ray Morrison.
Okay, with Bart Andrus, head coach of the Argos. Thanks, Rod. Bart, maybe an update on Kerry Joseph and your thoughts in the first half.
Well, we let him off the hook a couple times defensively in the first half. We may try to make some adjustments at halftime. I think we'll come out and play a little bit better. Kerry looks like he's got a concussion, so he's probably going to be out for the second half.
Okay, thanks for this.
You bet.
Here comes Kerry Joseph. So a concussion. It was not a shoulder injury, as he has a little run-in with Wes Cates. Old teammates over there in Saskatchewan. So Kerry Joseph, if he is unable to throw or go back into the ballgame, Cody Pickett will come in right now. The Argos do not have a third quarterback listed. Would I suggest that it might be Jason Carter, who does have some quarterback experience? They used to have Reggie McNeil. He's been injured, who was a quarterback. Would he be the logical candidate?
Well, he would be the most logical when you look at the guys on the roster. The one downside of that, you know, the difference between he and Reggie McNeil, of course, both former college quarterbacks. Reggie McNeil had been with the Argos for a couple of years, had been with them through training camp to learn the system. Now you've got a guy in Jason Carter who's only been here for 5 weeks.
The Roughriders on a short kick get it to the 45-yard line. They'll have the wind here in the third quarter. The Argos will have the wind at their backs in the fourth. And Darian Durant comes back out. Very effective in that first half. The Roughriders lead by 2 converted touchdowns.
And with the way the Saskatchewan Roughriders executed their game plan throughout the first half, whether they had the wind at their backs or blowing in their faces, I don't think it really matters which way they're going here in the third quarter.
Double tight, double tight.
Play action. Durant with time. Claude Harriet in his face. Avoids him. Avoids another. Finally, Willie Pyle brings him down. Very close to a first down, and what a job there by Darian Durant. Plays Houdini again. And behind the play, 2 Argos colliding. Adriano Belli and Kevin Huntley.
Yeah, a couple 300-pounders. That's a lot of beef colliding as they were running opposite ways in pursuit of the quarterback, Darian Durant. Watch for 94 and 78. Belly dives, ends up cutting the legs out of Kevin Huntley.
Second and but a foot. Wes Cates with with the first down.
Well, Ken Miller has to be happy with the performance of his team thus far. Maybe the one black mark on the evaluation would be those last couple minutes in the first half. So look to get that turned around in a hurry.
Yeah, only the fumble by Cates. Paul LaPolice, the offensive coordinator, getting an A grade from his head coach after that first half. Play action again. Durant will throw it away. Pressurized there, decides to throw it out of bounds.
Nice decision by Darian Durant to not try and force something when he's in a position where he can't make a clear read. He's under a little bit of pressure. A first down situation. Just throw it away and regroup.
Cody Pickett will come in at quarterback for the Toronto Argonauts. When they get the football back. Durant calls his number again. This time he'll be held short by about 1.5 yards, it looks like, from here. And Luka Conji will likely get the call here. They're going to bring out, are they going to bring the yardsticks up? No, it's third down and looks like almost a full 3 yards now based on that spot. So Conji will come out and he will have the wind at his back.
Yeah, he's going to punt here, though. This would be about a 51-yard field goal attempt,
which is,
had they elected to go that route.
Which is within his range, but a hard football on a cold night.
Yeah.
Slippery conditions.
Yeah, even with the wind, that would be a tough one. So they're going to look to pin the Argos deep here with a good punt from Conji. Jason Carter is back deep as Dominique Dorsey's day is done.
Eat up some of that clock. Bobble snap. And a wobbler. And it will bounce into the end zone. And the Riders will give up a point to the Toronto Argonauts. 28-15. Kerry Joseph on the sideline began the game, and now Cody Pickett is in the ball game. 15-point Saskatchewan lead. Point on the punt by Luka Conji. Cody Pickett now takes control. Jeff Johnson again follows the lead of Jamal Robertson. Who would have thought going into this game that we would see more yardage on the ground from Jeff Johnson than Jamal Robertson?
Well, Jeff Johnson's a capable ball carrier, and it's actually kind of refreshing to see the Argonauts use their fullback a little bit more, avoid any predictability, and find different ways to run the football. They've had success this season when they've run the ball. This gives them a little bit more balance, a little misdirection in the way that they do that.
Pickett in the shotgun, play action. Here's the blitz now. He goes deep, and there are penalty flags flying everywhere. James Patrick with the pickoff. Jeff keeping finally brings him down. But from all indications right now, looks like it's going to go against Saskatchewan. Number of penalty markers on the field.
Offside, Toronto number 19. Forward pass interference, Saskatchewan number 29. It's net 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
So Eddie Davis, another interference call against number 29 here tonight.
Well, the play didn't mean much, but you see Jamal Robertson with a nice little chip. Didn't have a chance to get a solid block on the blitzing linebacker, Ray Williams, but just got enough of a piece of him to buy Cody Pickett time to throw that ball. And here you see really both Saskatchewan defenders on that side of the field grabbing their receivers. Plus the orange laundry.
On the line. Johnson again turns it to the right, but nowhere to go. Only a yard pickup. Ray Williams, Mike McCullough in there.
And you heard Jock Climby mention at halftime the success that the Argos had and how effectively they had run that play against some different Saskatchewan fronts, how important that is against a team like Saskatchewan that gives you some different looks up front. The Riders look like they might have solved that a little bit. Obviously a little chalk talk at halftime. So the Argos are going to have to expand that playbook a little bit, go with some of their different run options.
Second down, 9. Passing down again. There's the blitz. Jamal Robertson. Omar Morgan all over him. And kick time again.
Well, that's twice in that series that we saw the linebacker, Ray Williams, coming from the weak side, looping to come straight up the middle. Defect quarterback Cody Pickett in his delivery. You saw Pickett on the sidelines there, huddling with his receivers, likely talking about what their blitz adjustments are, how they're going to change their routes when that blitz is coming and they know the ball has to get out early.
Medlock against the wind. We'll let that play clock come down. Line drive wobbler right to the dangerous Jason Armstead. Oh, a block there. Finally knocked out of bounds. 29-14 Saskatchewan.
Well, another good return for Saskatchewan's Jason Armstead, but he gets help. Watch the right side of your screen. Neil Hughes with the big knockout block on Toronto's Sammy Joseph attempting to cover. Neil Hughes, one of the warriors on Cavis Reed's special teams unit. These guys are having a fine evening tonight.
Local guys are doing well. Riders doing well. West Cates room to roam again. Stood up and brought down by Zeke Moreno.
As West Cates got out of the backfield, he almost looked surprised at how much open ground was in front of him there. Hesitated for a second as he broke the line of scrimmage before finally dropping his head and accelerating upfield. Here you'll see a green shirt on every white jersey. Lots of room for West Cates.
Second and 1.
Tough to tell initially whether Cates got the first down. We'll bring in the sticks and measure it up.
Darian Durant has been so impressive tonight. 8 of 12 for 144. So this will be a third down play now.
Saskatchewan is going to go for it here on third down. This is their quarter with the wind at their backs. They want to make the most offensively.
Stephen Giles is in at quarterback for this third down play. Depends on this spot.
Oh, the Argos got there in a hurry.
Jonathan Brown knocking heads, pushing him back. Stephen Giles On the sideline all game long. You know, you're on the sideline, you got a coat on, come into a cold game too.
Well,
for this play.
Watch Kevin Iben over the top. Jonathan Brown in there as well with the initial hit. By the time Giles recovered to try and make that second effort, Willie Pyle and others were there in the backfield to tackle him.
And they got it. They got it.
By the nose of the ball. A nice stand by the Argos, but it was tough to stop a team when you have so little.
Challenge flag has been thrown by the Argonauts on the far side of the field. Third and inches. You look at, you know, the forward momentum here. It didn't look like he went too
challenging the spot of the ball. We'll review it.
Too far forward on that play. Here's the best look right here.
Yeah, and we'll see. You see where the ball is. That's the original spot. Frankly, I don't think that Steve Giles ever passed where the ball originally was.
Then we'll go to the command center and look at this, and they'll take a look at those replays. That is the most definitive one.
So if you take a look at where the ball is, we take a straight line right down there and see if the ball ever goes past that point.
Well, maybe there.
But just barely,
maybe.
and they needed more than that.
Unless there's something wrong with your arrow.
I draw straight arrows.
You draw straight arrows. So we wait on this one, and this is could be a big overturn if it is.
Yeah, this to me is a well-calculated challenge from Bart Andrus. Not just based on the opportunity to win it, but based on what the benefit is. Playing against the wind here in the third quarter, it would give his offense a chance to get the ball with a very short field here, a chance to put some points up on the board. Well-timed flag toss by the Argos head coach.
Glenn Johnson waiting the verdict from back in the command center out east. Jake Ireland's there. Most definitive replay. Again, it appeared to be that one, but that can be deceiving too. This is a crowned field here in Regina.
You're questioning my arrow again.
I'm not questioning your arrow. I never question anything from you, Mr. Ford. Normally, these don't take this long, but they're taking a look at a variety of angles. See right there. Looks like he got stood up.
Yeah, he never recovered from that initial hit, and the initial hit occurred behind the line of scrimmage or at the line of scrimmage. He didn't get past that point.
That ball doesn't look like it's moving forward at all. The Argos certainly felt they stopped him. This is a big decision coming here with 8:33 to go in the third quarter.
Potential turning point in this football game.
I'm sure a lot of people would just like them to make the decision. Get colder when you're standing around. Here it is.
After review, the ball did not reach the forward point of the first down. It's short by about a ball length.
Wow.
It's first down, Toronto.
There is a call that you do not see overturned very often.
Well, because there is an element of judgment to that call. It's not as black and white as some calls, such as inbounds or out of bounds, or was a guy down before he fumbled the football. There's an element of judgment to it, so it's a tough one to have overturned. But the Argos successful, and it was clearly the right call in the end.
So the Argos will take over. You draw the straightest lines. You're right on the money. Ken Miller doesn't like it. Cody Pickett and the Argos trying to capitalize. Twin back set. Split off now. Robertson to the right side. Jamal Robertson with his biggest run of the ball game inside the 20.
Well, we had just talked about the need for the Argos to find some different ways to run the football. Here, they go back to that split back set. This time it's Robertson taking the ball. Jeff Johnson with the lead block. You're going to see Johnson lead out to the right. He's going to kick out the linebacker, Tad Cornegay. That's where Robertson turns it up. Very similar to the play we've seen several times tonight with Johnson carrying the ball, but a nice little change up to take some of the keys away for the defense.
Runs over a couple of Roughriders.
You know, Rod, we talked up here at halftime about what the Argos needed to do to get back into this football game, what adjustments they should make, and this was number one on my list, was the Argonauts needed to run the football. 3-0 when Jamal Robertson rushes for over 100 yards. 0-10 when he doesn't.
Again, without a touchdown in the air in over a month. But the way it's going and the way they've done it on this drive, why not just keep giving it to Jamal Robertson?
Well, whether it's been Robertson or Johnson, this is the thing the Argonauts have done most effectively tonight, is pound the ball on the ground. Their offensive line is in a good rhythm here. The backs are doing a tremendous job lead blocking for one another.
First and goal. Back to him again. Why not?
Again, we see the Argos showing a different look the last couple of plays. After running that sweep with a lead back several times, now they go to a bit of a cross-buck series, a cross action in the backfield.
Well, this is that nether zone, though, that teams have a tough time with. Second and goal from the 3-yard line. Now play action. Carter wants the ball. He was open. And there's the danger, whether to run or to pass. And now this sets up a 3rd down and goal from the 3.
The throw to Jason Carter was there, but it had to happen quickly. You're going to see Carter, just as he gets past Mike McCullough, he's open now. But McCullough, by getting upfield, disrupted the timing of that play in that very narrow window that Cody Pickett had to throw the football had closed.
The opportunity for a touchdown also comes to an abrupt end. So Justin Medlock, chip shot here for him. And after that turnover on downs, the Argos muster 3 more points. 29-17 the score. Closed captioning of the CFL on TSN is brought to you by Sport Check. Sport Check, the power of sport. It's a 12-point game. Chilly Saturday night in Regina. Home team avoids giving up a touchdown. That had to be a victory for them. Argos get a field goal and kick it right back. Knocks down one of the Rider personnel on the sidelines. That was Coach Ken Miller. Gets up quickly.
Sort of.
Yeah.
It's all relative.
Don't hit the coach.
It's not a good way to get more playing time, Stu.
There he is. The coach takes a big hit. Darian Durant and the Riders, 6 rushing plays, 1 passing play in the second half with the win. Throwing to Chris Zarka. Bulldozes for first down. I have to ask you, why did the Argos not run the football there?
I think Jamal Robertson is probably wondering the same thing over on the sidelines. There you see him after they had run the ball down the Roughriders' throats on that drive. They get into position to score and abandon the thing that got them there.
5.5 minutes to go for the end of the third quarter. Jamal Robertson had 3 carries for 34 yards on that drive, and the drive stalled at the 3-yard line.
With 2 more cracks that they could have had at it from the 3-yard line.
Darian Durant will come to the sideline again, and Stephen Giles will come back in. This time it's a 2nd down in inches. Coach looks like he's okay. Oh man, he got hit again. Willie Pyle, but second effort looks like propelled Stephen Giles to the first down. Willie Pyle coming in on the pile.
Watch how quickly the Argonauts get into that backfield. It looked like Stephen Giles slipped.
And you know, the spot comes back. I don't think they got to the first down marker.
Yeah, the second lunge here from Giles is meaningless because he's down there.
Right there. So it will be 3rd and inches again, and will Ken Miller gamble again?
He has to.
Well, they'll give it another crack. Stephen Giles has been stuffed twice now.
Nice and easy, bud.
A penalty marker down. And I'll tell you what, if it's 3rd down in a yard, I'm thinking the Saskatchewan Roughriders aren't going after it for the rest of the ball game.
The Argos are making them work for every inch in short yardage situations here.
Offside. Toronto, number 78. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Adriano Belli, so moot point, moves the football. Well, TSN's live coverage of the 2009 President's Cup continues tomorrow. Final round live from the Harding Park Golf Course in San Francisco. Individual matches. The Americans lead by 3 points. 5 points away from winning against the international side. Durant lobs one to his sideline, and that one kind of came out of his hand a little funny.
Seems like that wind has died down a little bit, but still blowing a little bit behind Darian Durant. I wonder if that affected him as the throw sailed a little bit over the head of Chris Getzlaf.
Second and 10. Durant, a wobbler. And he was turfed in the backfield. So now Luka Konji will come out after Jonathan Brown got to him and have to kick it away.
You see Jonathan Brown coming from the top of your screen. He's working against Gene Mikowski. It's a good drive upfield. Falls off to the inside to hit Durant just as he throws that football, causing it to fall harmlessly out in the flat.
Jason Carter back again. Dominic Dorsey injured early in this ball game and on the sideline and out of the ball game now. High snap. Konji gets it away. his 15. Brings it to the 26. 12-point Saskatchewan advantage. Under 4 minutes left in the third. Every game, our friends at Purolator donate the quarterback's weight in food to a local food bank when they are sacked. Here's our sack attack this season, brought to you by Purolator, where business is going. BC leading the way. Toronto with 31, Saskatchewan also with 31. Only one sack tonight, that by John Chick. Cody Pickett. Back to Jamal Robertson. As a hole. And has a first down. Mike McCullough finally brings him down. Let's go downstairs now. Here's Ray Morrison again.
Well, the theme of this game has been the cold weather, of course, Rod. 30,000 here strong tonight. The weather did not deter them at all. They came prepared, as witnessed by this video. Security stood outside a North End store today because there were too many fans in the store at once getting geared up in their rider garb. So it was about a $25,000 or $30,000 day for this store. So the CFL merchandise leaders, another big day at the gates.
Probably a lot of money spent on toques. Johnson again, having one of most of his productive nights here this season. I don't think they were selling those masks in there, but hey, you come to expect it in Regina, even on whether it's a cold day or the warmest day of the summer. They love their team here.
Yeah, it is always the sea of green. Just a day like today, the jerseys go on over the parkas.
Johnson and Robertson backfield again. 2nd and 5. Pickett will throw. And caught for a first down, Chad Lucas.
Lucas on the quick slant does a nice job going down and picking that ball off the turf. Cody Pickett threw that one with some authority.
That's what the Argo brass has liked about Cody Pickett since he came to the Canadian Football League. That's why they feel he has the potential to be a starting and winning quarterback in the league. Johnson again, Jeff Johnson. Mike McCullough brings him down. Former star from St. FX brings down the former star from York.
And Mike McCullough shows you exactly why the Roughriders are so comfortable with him in that starting lineup. Took over that spot while Ray Williams was hurt. Now with Williams moving to the weak side linebacker spot, McCullough still keeps ticking right along in the middle, making plays like that.
Another big second down here for the Argos as they creep towards Saskatchewan territory. Pickett to Robertson. But he will be held far short of a first down. Morgan quickly makes the tackle. And Toronto will have to kick it away with 43 seconds. And keep in mind again, Toronto will have the football with the wind in the fourth.
And that wind in the impending end of the third quarter makes that a big stop for the Saskatchewan Roughriders as they force the Argos to punt one more time against the wind.
Guy with a deuce tattoo wearing number 2. Jason Armstead has had a couple of excellent returns already tonight. Spiraling kick, good punt against the wind, sends Armstead back to his 2-yard line. Reverses field. What a kick by Medlock. 15 seconds to go in the third quarter. Just a 4-yard return from Jason Armstead. A mighty boot.
Yeah, 49-yard punt for Medlock into the breeze. If the Argos could start the fourth quarter with a big defensive stop, gives them a chance to start in good field position and with the wind.
Here is an ominous number, though. The Saskatchewan Roughriders, when leading after 3 quarters this season, are 7-0. Final play before the 4th quarter. Case. And so we will head to the 4th. 29-17. The Argos will have the win when we come back. Here are the numbers after 3 quarters, brought to you by Tim Hortons. Always fresh, always.
And the number that stands out for me, the rushing yards from the Toronto Argonauts, 135 so far here tonight, but they abandoned it at a critical time in that 3rd quarter.
Now they do have the breeze at their backs. However, I mentioned that number 7-0 the Roughriders are when leading after 3 quarters. The Toronto Argonauts, conversely, are 0-7 when trailing after 3 quarters. We'll see if these numbers play out.
Yeah, absolutely. When you're a coach, you don't want to tell your team what the trend is. You just want them to worry about playing football, go out and try to get a win. When you're the Argos, you're not in a bad position here. That was a pretty good 3rd quarter for them.
Hot tub when it's -12. You're at a football game. What the heck? Now against the wind. Darian Durant trying to protect this lead. He'll throw. Oh, no, he will not. And he is dropped. And will it be a safety? No, it's right on the 1-yard line. Durant was very lucky that he did not give up 2 points. As it stands now, the Roughriders will probably give up 2 points. They'll be kicking against the wind here. Luka Kanji, who normally doesn't kick. And what a huge sack here, the first of the night for the Argos.
Yeah, and that big defensive play sets up a very favorable situation, as you mentioned, Rod, with the potential safety. You've got the Roughriders, first of all, giving you 2 points. Secondly, kicking off from their own 25-yard line, kicking against the wind with a guy who doesn't usually kick off.
I think it would be a major surprise if he did not take the knee here. And he will give up 2. Let the clock tick down, and you can bet that that's another MO here for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, is to eat up some of that game clock here. So the score now 29-19, and the Riders will kick it away. The CFL on TSN is brought to you by Rona, proud sponsor of the CFL. Rona, doing it right since 1939. Well, the Toronto Argonauts now trailing by 10. And the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who had deferred to the 2nd half after the coin toss.
You have to think when they elected to take the wind in the 3rd quarter that their feeling was to try and bury the Argos in that 3rd quarter.
Which they did not.
No, they didn't. And with 14 minutes to go here, the Argos aren't in a position where they're forced to throw the football. And I kind of suspect that was a little bit of Saskatchewan's strategy, is to build enough of a lead that the Argos would be forced to throw the ball, because that hasn't been the strongest part of their offense here tonight.
Might come back to bite them. And again, Luka Kanji normally does not handle the kickoffs. This is against the wind. Andre Dury is back, as is Jason Carter. Dury following a wall. And the Argos and Cody Pickett will start near midfield.
Well, they've been given the field position. They've been given the wind. Can they capitalize? This has been the question surrounding the Toronto Argonauts
all season.
Really? Can they make the most of their opportunity, or are they going to squander it?
Cody Pickett coming off the bench tonight. Jamal Robertson in the backfield. Robertson left side, McCullough again. Mike McCullough has been all over the field here tonight.
Yeah, sometimes a team takes a guy like Mike McCullough for granted as a special team, or a guy who knows his role. You can plug him in if you have to. Mike McCullough is a guy who's really stepped up and excelled, given the opportunity to be a starter here. Opportunity created by that injury to Ray Williams.
81 yards on the ground for Robertson tonight. Here's the rush. But he hangs in. The catch made by Chad Lucas. And a first down for Toronto.
And if this first possession of the fourth quarter is any indication, the Toronto Argonauts seem to have that sense of urgency that they're going to need, not just for the rest of this football game, but for the rest of their season.
Chad Lucas, who's become one of the leading receivers for the Argonauts since he came to Toronto. Guy who has a relationship with his head coach going back to NFL Europe. Goes on the move again. Robertson again. Ray Williams brings him down.
Ray Williams just came out of nowhere on that play to make the tackle on Jamal Robertson. See Williams, weak side linebacker. He's on the backside of this play. Just outruns the cutoff block from the offensive line to get there and bring down Robertson for a short gain.
Another big play for the Saskatchewan defense. 8 yards away from the first down. Pickett delivers. Lucas looks like he got it back, but not close to a first down. And Justin Medlock will have to come out again.
Chad Lucas took a big hit as soon as he caught that ball. Very fortunate to retain possession, give the Argos at least an opportunity to come out of this with some points. He's coming across the middle, so he knows he's running into traffic. Just as he goes to turn up, Tad Cornegay, Mr. Versatility for the Riders, is right there with the hit.
This from the 42 with the whip. No problem. Plows it through. And the Argos inch closer. 29-22 now, Saskatchewan.
You talk about missed opportunities for the Toronto Argonauts. PK Sam lines up as the number 3 receiver here, third man in from the sideline. He ends up open on this play, runs by his defender. He's looking for the football, but it goes underneath to Chad Lucas, and you see Sam in the forefront of the picture here. Frustration at another missed opportunity for the Argos.
Armstead again. Dances to the 40. To midfield. Instant field position from Jason Armstead.
Well, the Argos may have the win, but the Saskatchewan Roughriders have Jason Armstead leveling the playing field as far as field position in this ball game.
You saw Cody Pickett on the sideline. It looks like he may be hurt now. So again, we'll watch the Argos sideline. Pickett 5 of 6 for 35 yards, but Darian Durant and the Riders have the ball. Rested Wrestler. Loads of time left here. Kerry Joseph starting to warm up. He's throwing the football during the commercial break. Might we see him again here?
If Kerry Joseph's got a concussion, don't tell me he's coming back in the football game.
Looks like a guy who's warming up back there. Durant looking over the middle. Dressler again. Lindsay Shell tackles him, but it's a first down, Saskatchewan.
You know, I was just thinking on the last play that the Argos had done a pretty good job defending against the Roughriders' most lethal weapon. Weston Dressler. All of a sudden, number 7 breaks free for a big play at first down for the Riders.
Dressler trying to get to 2 1,000-yard seasons, and a ball thrown up on the sideline. Andy Van Toos went up, knocked down the official. That was a dangerous ball there. Jonathan Brown penetrating the line.
Darian Durant just tried to get that one away. He knew Jonathan Brown was bearing down on him. Got it in the general direction of Andy Van Toos, but just out of reach of the Rough Rider receiver.
Durant's in trouble. And the Rough Riders will have to kick it away. With 9:05 to go. Kevin Huntley, another guy who's never played in conditions like this before.
See big number 94 Huntley. He's working on the left guard, Chris Best. Fights off his block and is there to make a play as Durant tried to step up and run for the first down.
So Cody Pickett has the jacket off.
Well, we'll hope that Kerry Joseph was over there just trying to stay warm.
Jason Carter is back at his 5-yard line. Monchi shanks one. Out at the 28-yard line. The Argos down by a converted touchdown. Cody Pickett is now on the sideline. Kerry Joseph is coming in. And this is what happened to Cody Pickett during the last possession.
Yeah, you see Stevie Beggs come from the top of the screen. Made the tackle. You see Cody Pickett afterwards in some discomfort on the sidelines.
Hand off to Jamal Robertson. Now again, Bart Andrews had said that Joseph suffering from a concussion. We don't know the extent of the concussion, if indeed he was concussed, but clearly not a situation you want to put a quarterback into. So Joseph must have been cleared to be out on the field. He's back in the ballgame. Knocked out by a number of hits tonight against his old team. In trouble. And Lucas can't come back for the football.
Well, I'm just waiting to hear the explanation for this. I mean, either he had a concussion, which is what we were told, or he doesn't. And if he does, he shouldn't be in the football game, period.
Dressler fumbles the football and got it back. 7:25 to go. And a nervous second half right now for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. CFL on TSN continues Thanksgiving Day Monday. Calgary Stampeders and Montreal rematch of the Cup. And then the Blue Bombers against the Hamilton Tiger Cats after that. Game that has a lot of importance suddenly in the CFL East. How about this? And in the West, you're right. How about this game suddenly turning though? Darian Durant play action. Andy Van Toos knocked out of bounds.
Once again, the Toronto Argonaut defense has had another good outing here tonight. They've done a pretty good job. We talked about keeping Weston Dressler in check. Andy Van Toos has been quiet. Two of the big weapons in this Saskatchewan arsenal. Credit guys like Jason Shivers, Lynn J. Shell, the two Argonaut defensive halfbacks charged with frequently covering those guys.
Second and short yardage. The pitch to Cates. Perfectly executed for a first down. And Wes Cates has a few words with Jamal Robertson.
Well, nice misdirection on this play as the Roughriders get the flow going to the left side of the field and then option it back. You're going to see the Argo defense. Everybody's kind of flowing to their right. The ball all of a sudden pops out to the left. Cates gets a little head start on that play, which allows him to outflank the defenders.
If it wasn't for Wes Cates, Jamal Robertson might be the running back here in Saskatchewan. There's Cates again. This is a time the Roughriders have to use up this clock. 6.5 minutes to go. They've been held to 1 point. A single on a punt in the second half.
Now is a time when the Roughriders are going to want to play it a little bit more conservatively, grind out a bit of time on the clock. They'd certainly like to get some more points on that board. Nursing a precarious 7-point lead at this point. But they want to be very cognizant of the time left in this football game and doing it.
Play action. Durant hangs on. Nobody home. Takes off. And steps out of bounds for the first down. What a play by Darian Durant.
And a huge play. A couple of subtle little moves there from Darian Durant made all the difference between being sacked and picking up a first down. We've seen him make plays with his legs all night tonight. 47 yards rushing on 6 carries for the Rider quarterback. But it was just a little pump fake that allowed him to juke that last Argo defender, Kevin Iben.
Under 6 minutes. Roughriders looking to seal it. Cates. Should Saskatchewan hang on here, the coffin on the Argo season is pretty much nailed firmly shut.
Yeah, we talked a couple of weeks ago about the Argos having 7 games left and likely needing to win. At that point, 5 out of 7. They were playing Winnipeg. The two teams were tied in the standings, suggesting it would take 5 wins in the last 7 weeks of the season for one of those two Eastern rivals to get to the playoffs. The Riders have the Bombers stepped up to the plate with a couple consecutive wins. The Argos still looking to get in that race.
Durant looks, fires. And once again, Jerron Walker, who had a touchdown earlier in the first half. Right at the first down marker. And they'll move the football again. Yardsticks will move. 4.5 minutes to go.
Darian Durant afforded good protection by his offensive line. Steps up and fires a strike to Walker.
Nice and easy, nice and easy.
Durant will use that play clock down to 5 seconds. 4 minutes to go. Now second down. Now normally this would be automatic field goal range for Luka Konji. But even from here, should they just get it to the hash against this wind and on this field, it's not a gimme.
Well, that wind has played a big role in this football game tonight.
Durant will throw. And what a catch by Dressler. And he got rocked. But it's another Saskatchewan first down.
Well, Dressler had a really awkward landing. He was hit in the air as he caught that football. Keep an eye on his right ankle here. He lands on 1 foot, and he's being driven after he makes the catch here.
Oh, right on his leg. You could see that landed
really
awkwardly.
Planted that right ankle, and that's what all his weight was on coming down.
Right there. Right on his ankle. And on an icy, hard field like it is tonight. Weston Dressler's ankle took the worst of it. See a few of those Roughriders sporting that mohawk haircut, including their quarterback. Dressler has the ankle up. Doesn't look good.
You know, when we talked about this when we saw Kerry Joseph go down in the first quarter, or in the first half with that maybe concussion, sacrificing himself for a chance to score a touchdown, make a big play for his team. Now we see Weston Dressler doing the same, putting his body at risk to make a play at a critical time for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
This has been a team that's responded to adversity and injuries. They just hope that Weston Dressler's is not serious. Such a key component of their team. Durant again in some trouble. Gets rid of it. 3-minute warning. We'll come back to Mosaic Stadium in Regina. The Roughriders leading by 7. Here's the game story brought to you by Molson Canadian. This is our beer.
Well, Darian Durant winning the battle of the quarterbacks here tonight. 3 touchdown passes for the Rider quarterback. Pretty good duel going on between a couple of running backs here in tough conditions, cold weather. Big days for both Wes Cates and his counterpart, Jamal Robertson.
Second down, 10 yards in the red zone. Durant calls his own number. Darian Durant spins for the first down. And a loose football. The Roughriders bring it inside the 10-yard line. 7 carries now for 59 yards for the Riders' new number 4.
Well, no doubt here, Darian Durant's legs have been one of the differences in this football game. You see the Roughriders O-line draws the pass rushers upfield, and then they just wall them to a side, create a lane for Durant to take off on that quarterback draw.
How good has this drive been, and how good has Darian Durant been on it? 5 minutes and 10 seconds. Unless they cough up the football. This drive will be the one that determines this ball game.
Roughriders with a chance to seal it with a touchdown here. This team that's been so good when leading after 3 quarters, unbeaten in that situation.
Luca Conchi getting ready. 2nd and 5. Touchdown or field goal would do it. Andy Fantuz drops the football. So Conchi will come out. And with a field goal, makes it a 2-possession ball game.
Again, not the outcome that the Roughriders wanted on the drive, but they'll take the consolation of the field goal, as you said, making it a 2-possession football game, and as well, having taken a lot of time off the clock.
Too much time for the Argos. We'll have to score quickly. Get it back and try to score again. Conji puts it through, and the lead is now 10 with 90 seconds to go. Almost 6 minutes eaten up on that drive. Let's go down to Ray Morrison now. Ray?
Well, contrary to what Bart Andrus told us just before the start of the third quarter, it is not a concussion for Kerry Joseph. He suffered a stinger on that hit at the goal line, so that's why he was able to come back in. As far as Cody Pickett is concerned, he has a muscle strain in his torso. It's on the left side of his body. The training staff has been looking at this on and off for some time now, so that's the injury update on the Argos quarterback's run.
Are they sure it's not a stinger?
Point. So the Argos, you saw them working on the neck of Kerry Joseph. That's why we were a little surprised that it might have been a concussion. But with so many head hits in the game of football, so many players suffering from concussions, the last thing you wanted to see was a guy come out here. And obviously that wasn't the case. Biggest thing for Joseph and the Argos now. Hope for a miracle comeback here. Andre Drury close to midfield. 1:23 to go. Joseph, who had 2 gloves on at the beginning of this ball game, now with the 1 glove off on his throwing arm.
Field where Kerry Joseph performed some great heroics 2 years ago. Looks to see if he's got one last miracle here.
Joseph in trouble. Botch snap. Joseph throws the ball away. No turnover. No sack. 1:16 to go.
And also with the throwaway, getting it across the line of scrimmage to avoid a potential grounding call.
Second down. Trying to lead Chad Lucas. This is ball game here. 3rd down for the Argonauts.
And Chad Lucas is just running an out route here to the right side. Kerry Joseph leads him a little bit too much on this throw.
Since coming back in the ball game, Joseph has not completed a pass. In fact, his last 7 passes, 6 incomplete, 1 interception. Taking a timeout.
Timeout, Toronto.
One minute and 11 seconds left. Saskatchewan Roughriders have won the last 3 meetings against their eastern counterparts. Looking to make it 4 in a row. 3rd down, Argos need 10. That's it. Kerry Joseph unable to complete a pass coming back into the ball game.
And that was, in that last pass was a forced ball to a well-covered receiver. The Toronto Argonauts on a night when, as seems to be a recurring theme, their defense allows them to hang in, but the offense comes up a little bit short.
This Argo defense has been the only real rooting point for the Argos over the last 2 seasons. The offense still unable to get on track. 93 drives now without a passing touchdown. It's almost unthinkable.
They haven't thrown a touchdown pass since August 28th.
Fact of the matter is, too, they've given up over 100 more points than they've scored. Team that now will lose 9 of its last 10. On pace for what happened last year when they thought it was just a blip on the radar screen, an anomaly. Well, it's a trend. They were 4-14 last year. This team is going to fall to 3-11. And there is trouble within the Toronto Argonauts.
And with 4 weeks to go in this season, their remaining games, they face Montreal, Edmonton twice, and Hamilton down the stretch. The outlook is bleak.
Came into Saskatchewan. Frigid night. Quarterbacks getting banged up. Kerry Joseph, stinger in the first half. Cody Pickett gets hurt. Dominic Dorsey is out.
Timer, please put 16 seconds on the clock.
3-11 after tonight's game. Bombers play Hamilton, and with a crossover team, Edmonton in the middle. The Argonauts look like they're shut out again.
Even the players realize that for as much as you say we still have a mathematical chance.
Luca Conji, and you know the Saskatchewan Roughriders also have a few question marks. Jamie Borum, of course, out of the lineup. They hope for the best with Weston Dressler. Get an update likely tomorrow. But this win is a big one for Saskatchewan. 8-6.
Everybody home. Love you.
Legal kick out of bounds. Saskatchewan number 10. Penalties decline. First down, Toronto.
What a horse race in the West.
It sure is, and it has been really since week 1 of the season. There's never been a lot of separation from 1 through 4.
And there's never been a real definitive, prohibitive favorite as there was last year. The previous years, the BC Lions and Calgary last year was assuming command. Joseph heaves one. And coming up, the last play of this ball game. You go back in this game, too, to a turning point when the Argos got the football back and then went all the way down to that 3.5-yard line, settled for a field goal. Things might have been different had they been able to seize momentum. They have not. And this is what it looks like in the West. Calgary playing in Montreal on Monday. Last play of this ball game. The Saskatchewan Roughriders do it to the Toronto Argonauts again. Darian Durant, the former understudy to Kerry Joseph, wins again. Argos have lost 4 in a row, 9 of their last 10. 32-22, the final in Regina.